It was the first time where I had to look law enforcement in the face and tell them what I was doing. And in the end, it did nothing but empower me. It did nothing but further my statement, my cause, my fight. It did nothing but help me in the end to realize that this shit is real.
And what is more real than a Muslim American singing in a punk band in Arabic about his own life experiences?
Haram is, at least for me, the first Arabic language punk or hardcore band that I've ever heard in my 15 to 20 years of listening to punk music.
The music's great, you know, punk music, but the vocals like just make it stand apart. I've never like heard a punk band something like that before ever, you know what I mean?
They got popular really fast, and they got popular for a good reason, because their music's really good, they have a great stage presence.
When we look back in like 10, 15 years, like we'll be talking about them.
The way punk came into my life, I thought that it would be a really good platform for me to express that. And it's like my culture, I feel like, was like ripped out of me and like destroyed in a sense because of where I grew up and the experiences I had. I was in 5th grade when 9/11 happened. I remember I was the first one pulled out of class. The principal was there and sat down. And the dare officer comes up to me, "Where's your dad? Where's your mom right now? What do they do? Have they been abroad lately? Do they force you to do anything at home?" Yeah, I remember my mom pulled up and I got in the car. We're driving away from the school. I remember looking back, "What's happening? What's going on?" Like, and she was like, "Oh, there was an attack in the city. Your father's down there." Here I was getting questioned by an officer that at the time I trusted, and also telling me that my dad was a terrorist. Meanwhile, my dad is like in a first emergency response team at Ground Zero, you know, helping people out. The things that I experienced growing up post 9/11 were really dark, and we really took a hit as a community, and no one wanted anything to do with us.
Both of Nader's parents are refugees from the Lebanese Civil War, and Nader playing in a band called Haram has put a strain on their relationship.
Haram means forbidden in Arabic. It's a word that's always plagued my existence. When I was growing up here in Yonkers, my dad would call things haram, you know, like, "Can't do that, it's haram, don't eat that, it's haram." What haram means to me is an entirely different thing. Playing with haram, I think that it's given me the courage to kind of take back what was taken from me and what I was told to be ashamed of and what I was told to hide.
For his entire life, society has told him that he's not to be accepted, that he's to be feared and demonized. And now, for the first time in his life, he has a microphone in his hand and he is screaming as loud as he can about what has happened to him.
15 years ago today, we as New Yorkers were exposed to the darkness that already existed in this world. But we have grown, and we are strong. Thank you.
I thought that maybe being in a punk band would be a solid platform to reintegrate my culture into my identity and express it in a way where I could draw to light some like major issues that are going on. The headband is a huge part of an intimidation technique for radical groups. It says "not a terrorist" on it. You know, my whole concept for the band is taking back what I think belongs to the good people of the culture.
That rock is not stable.
Yeah, that's a lot of it for me is that, because I've known Nader since I was 5 years old, so I identify with the lyrics in terms of just being able to see like one of my best friends express himself in a way that for many years he wasn't able to, just because of the environment that we grew up in.
Thanks, Myron.
But expressing himself in the way that he is getting him attention that he never expected.
He calls me and I was at work. He seemed like very calm on the phone, but really concerned, and was just like, "Hey, like, I don't know why I just like called you about this, but you know, there's a couple of like agents on their way to the house. It's like a wild thing, you know, you never think that you got to deal with the FBI over like something kind of so stupid as like your punk band.
I got a call on my cell phone. It was like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. This is NYPD Detective Kenneth Kroll. I'm wondering where you are. We just want to talk to you. Instantly, fear rushes across me. I don't know what's going on. So I invite them here to my house. They get here, quickly rush up the stairs, right where I'm sitting right now. So yeah, I was like, what is this about? They're like, we're just here to ask you a few questions about your life. They didn't mention the band at first. They first started asking me personal questions like, how long have I been here? Was I born here? Where are my parents from? What my parents did? Where I worked? Who my friends were? And you know, that was fine. But then one of them had an envelope with a bunch of things in it related to the band, related to me, headshots of me, and he started asking me more specific questions. He started asking me if I believed in ISIS ideology specifically, if I was influenced by imagery like that, if I was forced to look at imagery like that, if I've ever had radical thoughts, if I've ever been surrounded by radical people.
Just the fact that it was in Arabic was enough to like arouse their suspicion that Nader was doing something wrong, which he's not, you know. And they didn't even bother to translate the music. To know that it was like anti-extremist and secular and all this stuff.
That was the most
They just
shameful.
showed up at his house instead.
The Joint Terrorism Task Force is comprised of the FBI, NYPD, and other agencies. They investigate and combat terrorism activities in the New York metropolitan area. After 9/11, the NYPD developed a secret program to spy on Muslim communities. They sent agents to mosques, restaurants, and Muslim student associations across the city. Critics like the ACLU sued the city, calling the program racial profiling. And Mayor de Blasio has appointed a civilian to oversee the NYPD's counterterrorism activities.
In the United States, you can believe whatever you want to believe. It's not illegal to be a radical. It's not illegal to be an extremist. But it's when that behavior crosses from thought to action, that when you're going to advance your social or your political goal, not through a democratic process, but through violence, that's when it becomes a matter for the Joint Terrorism Task Force. We focus on behavior, right? We don't focus on demographics. We don't focus on outward appearances. So if the question is somebody's singing in Arabic, would we open a case? The answer is no. I can't speak to the specifics of that. I have no idea.
You know, Nader is living the American dream. He is a byproduct of being an American Muslim born and raised in the United States and actually being able to straddle two identities. It's really unfortunate that, you know, especially young people raised in the United States have to fall victim to being questioned and being surveilled and being stigmatized because of their faith tradition.
Last song on our 7-inch called Shuhuwa Hal Jahannam, which means what is this hell? I remember seeing one famous image of a kid head first in the sand dead on a beach in Italy, and that destroyed me. I cried for days after seeing that. Imagine like trying to cross the Mediterranean in an overcrowded boat and like half of you make it if you're lucky, and you get there and there's nothing for you there. So the lyrics go, كل الأولاد ميتين على البحر، كل الأولاد عايشين بلا أهل، كل الأولاد خايفين، شو هو هالجهنم? All the children are dead on the beach. All the children are living without parents. All the children are scared. What is this hell? That type of world is something that I've always fought against in my life, and to know that it's real and to know that it's more prominent than ever now is something that I found to be worth singing about.
Yeah.